Hi everybody, it's Mary Polka here with Remax Twin City in Brantford. I'm here to bring you another community interview, and today I have Janice who runs Tasty Road Trips in Brantford. And I've known Janice for so long, from when she worked at Laurier and I worked at United Way, and when she did Spicy Jan, and she still is Spicy Jan. She's wearing so many hats. Most importantly, her advocacy for community, supporting local, being all parts of the community. I'm so glad you're here with me today. Thank you so much for coming. How are you?
Thanks, Mary, for inviting me. I am doing well, safely tucked away in my little space in Burford. And how are things with you? I feel like I've been seeing you because you're doing such great work in our community that we get to see on social media. So high five, way to go, Mary.
Oh, thank you so much. And I have to say that it meant a lot to me when you reached out to me just to say, that I was doing some good work. But honestly, it's something that would, you've been one of my mentors for a long time, just the way you've been a strong advocate for local. So you always lead by example. So that's why I think this is great that you're here. Can I ask you to give everybody watching a little bit of a rundown of your history? What brought you to where you are today?
Well, if we talk about the food space, because you're right, I feel like I wear a few different hats, all by choice, and they're all fantastic hats, delicious hats.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people know me as Spicy Jan when I worked in the gourmet food space in the direct sales industry in this community of Brantford and Brant, and had a really strong business teaching people how to eat, how to cook food in their own home, and how to support local. And what ended up happening of that, Mary, is that the success that I had growing a national sales team, I earned some really cool trips around the world. Mm-hmm. And every time, because I worked in the gourmet food space, every time we went on one of these trips, we would be treated to a food tour. And that's how I really got to understand the power of food tourism and how it directly supports local. And I absolutely love the concept. And so that was sort of the first taste of me going, like this is a really interesting concept. Mm-hmm. And it was when Wincy Mill actually came on board in Paris with so many diverse options in culinary locally that I was like, wow, fish, Latin food, cheese, vegan food, a butcher, popcorn, oh my gosh, grilled cheese. It's like, okay, we have we have those elements right here. And that's when one day I went, I'm going to do food tours in Paris. And everyone went, interesting. But the concept was there. It just hadn't been brought together. And that's really how Tasty Road Trips was born.
It's amazing. Yeah. And I loved the tour you curated for me and some of my clients early on. When you first got started, you actually did a tasty road trip of all around St. George. And it was fantastic and so well received, and brought a lot of people to places they've never been before. So yes, again, you've been kind of doing this, supporting locally, hyper local advocacy for a long time. So you're kind of a front runner here, and my motivation to continue doing this and to help support local during this really tough time right now. So
right. And I think we have such rich culinary right here in our own backyard of Brantford Brant that, in my mind, it's a really easy choice. I don't have to travel far. You can shop local, you can eat local, you can take out local, you can soon hopefully dine in local or patio local. There's so many options, regardless of what your flavor profile interest is, that we just don't have to travel far to get really elevated flavor and culinary experiences. It's an easy choice once you understand it, but that's the whole point, right, Mary? Is really opening the doors for people to either know about it, try it, win a gift certificate, and go there, because you don't know what you don't know. So the more that we can talk about it, then people are just like, oh my gosh. My tour guests that are local often say, I had no idea this place was here or this place is what it is. So it's really cool when we can just be an introducer or be a conduit to a great place to support local.
Absolutely. Why do you think it's so important to support local? What motivates you to do this?
What motivates me? Well, I love food and drink, but honestly, what motivates me is the people. I live here. I grew my family. My family grew up here. And when you really stop and get to know the people that are behind the scenes, that are working hard to bring us great food or drink, that are doing farm to glass, farm to table, working in agritourism, when you get to know the people and understand how passionate they are, how hard they work, how important it is to their family, it's really an easy way to flip the switch to say, I have to support local. I have to be part of my community. I want my dollars to stay here because I live here. And it really was, honestly, Mary, and I have told this story, and this is a very true story, when I was doing a food tour in Mexico, and I met, and so, you know, when you go on a food tour, you go from fine dining to street food to, you know, eating just really different foods. And I was in Mexico, and I was in a very, very small street stall, and there was a mom and her little baby right with her, and she was making pupusas and tortillas, and she was making food for us. And I remember standing there looking at her, and I understood how important it was for her to feed us because we in turn fed her family.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that day because it was really impactful for me to think about it's not always about the yum. I mean, that's the product, but when we go and support local, it means something to these people who live here, and we support their families and their livelihood and their passion. So, you know, when you can look at it that way, it's just, for me, it's an easy choice. And that's what drives me. Every time I meet a new food entrepreneur or I meet a new farmer, that's what drives me. It's the people first, and then a great product that stand behind them.
Amazing. I have noticed that you have changed things around with your business based on what's been happening with the economy locked down a little bit, but it doesn't look like you're slowing down at all. You seem to be having more adventures, or maybe it's just how it appears, but tell me a little bit about what's getting up to. I saw you were a backcountry.
Yeah, thanks, Mary, for noticing. I'm sorry, say it again.
Were you backcountry camping? Did I see that?
We were away. We decided to do a staycation that we've been wanting to do for quite some time in Prince Edward County. Again, small community, reaching out to urban and rural municipalities and going and staying there. But you know, that was actually a boat ride. We were doing some camping, but that was a boat ride that we took us to see some really sort of out of the way camping locations. I wasn't doing that, but I love that you saw, and you know, so I was away and we were fully supporting local, you know, not picking our things up at big box stores, but picking our things up at places that we would read about and see what they had and then go and shop there, whatever we needed. But my business took a really different direction, and it's been kind of an interesting offering, Mary, that because the tours had to stop because of COVID, of course we weren't touring, businesses weren't open. Respectfully, we just canceled tours, either gave people an opportunity to rebook or gave them a refund, whatever they were most comfortable with. But what I quickly decided is that I still wanted to use my voice, and I still wanted to use the Tasty Road Trip platform to highlight businesses and what they were doing and what was available and who these people were. And I started doing virtual tours, and it started with virtual happy hour. It was really fun. We were in the backyard with Chef Tom Mercanti. Him and his wife, they showed us into their kitchen and what they were cooking. We had guests come into our virtual tours from, I had Costa Rica, I had Tokyo, I had Jamaica. So guests were coming in from all over the world, which was really cool. They were hearing about this virtual tourism because it was kind of new. I hit it super quick.
Yeah.
Then I was doing tour to go farm tours with farmer Ashley Brown of Browndale Farms in Paris.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that was really exciting to bring people into a dairy farm and to learn about that. But then I decided to sort of up the opportunity for virtual tourism. And we've been really blessed that some organizations who wanted to have a year-end meeting or want to have a fundraising meeting, or organizations that still want to bring their people together, they're contacting Tasty Road Trips to do virtual tastings, which means we still support local. We still are able to get tastings depending on what the organization is looking for, and depending on the budget. We're happy to work with budgets to be able to push food out through our local delivery, licensed delivery people, be able to push them out so that friends, colleagues, groups, networking groups can come together through a virtual presence just like this, and we can still meet those incredible chefs, farmers, and creators. We can still taste their food. And so the component of the people and the food is still there, but guests are just able to stay in their own home. And so it's really interesting because it was fun at first, but then it's really picked up into an option for those who still want to be able to safely stay tucked at home, but be able to do their celebrations or do their fundraising or have their year-end events. Like even a staff party, think about a group who suddenly, stopped seeing each other and they still want to stay plugged in. So we have adapted. We've done a very quick pivot to say, we'll go into the virtual space, but still support local. And it's just, all it is a different logistics piece on my end.
That's neat. It's been incredible watching how some businesses have been able to pivot and take advantage of this online presence. Everybody's got their eyes on their phone or on Facebook these days. So it's been interesting watching that play out. Do you think you'll keep any elements of what you've done to change things up in your business once things return to normal?
Yeah, it's a good question, Mary. I mean, it's hard to know where we're going to be in a couple of months, but I think the virtual element, to be quite honest, is one that's really attractive because people can have a sip in their own home and safely be at home. People can still see their friends, and whether they're immune compromised or there's some reason why they're not ready to get out, wear a mask, take the precautions, because not everybody's ready for that. The virtual is a really cool option that you can still feel a part of a community. My hashtag has always been food builds community, whether that's me seeing you in person, whether that's me seeing you virtually, just like I know what you've been doing with Food to Go, Mary. And you know what I've been doing. So we're still really connected. And if we can get the food into people's homes and meet the chefs and meet the farmers and meet the creators, that connection is still there because we still need to shop and eat. So we still want to be able to highlight local in that way. What's really interesting and something that I'm going to be launching, so watch the tastyroadtrips.com website, is what will be different is a self-guided tour. So Tasty Road Trips started with a downtown food walk in Paris, which meant we would sip and sample and meet different business owners, try their food or learn about their business, and we would stop in. Then we turned to getting out into Brant County and Brantford in a vehicle. So that's the road trip. We would do a sips and eats. So we're a group of friends. We would either get a vehicle that holds 10, or I've had vehicles that hold 56. We go out and we go into the farms and we go into the breweries and we go to the apple orchard. People still want to explore, but a way that I can offer that with taking the element of the group out of it is to be able to offer a self-guided. So I've come up with the self-guided tour of Paris, and it's where people can purchase a self-guided tour. They'll get a pass, and that pass will identify guests to some of the specific business owners that they are the part of the Tasty Road Trip self-guided tour, and then they can go in their own groups of 2 or 4, and it allows people to go at their own pace, but on a specific date and time, a time frame, and they'll still get the benefits and the perks of being on a Tasty Road Trip. The tastings, the sidewalk tastings, the make and take, the wine and cheese tasting. I'm bringing in more elements of wine and cheese because that is something that people like to travel to. But this way they can have it at some of our incredible locations in Paris. And in the fall, we will resume when people are comfortable, when I'm comfortable with the safety measures, when our delivery, or our transportation provider is comfortable, we'll go back into the road trip model. But for now, it'll be self-guided, or they can be guided with Spicy Jan and her awesome team, and that will be a more elevated experience. So, you know, we still want to be here to open the doors to new experiences. Just, it might look a little bit different for a while for some folks.
Yeah. Yes, but I still think that the most important thing is that we're supporting the local businesses, and I know how appreciative they are to have you in their corner. So thank you so much for all of your hard work for doing that. And I just want to pick your brain one last time. Can you tell me, what are your most favorite things to eat? I want to know what's like top 3, because I know you probably have a hard time picking your favorite thing. One. I want to know your top 3.
Okay, but wait, I need to know who's cooking it. Is it anywhere, anyone, or locally, or in my home? What do you mean?
Anywhere.
There's a lot of different variables.
Global.
Anywhere.
Yeah, there's got to be something that globally has blown you out of the water.
Oh, globally. Well, let's stay local, because I think there's some pretty cool global food. I just didn't know if you meant in my kitchen or in working with some others. Well, I'll tell you, like, I love Mexican food. I love Mexican, Latino, anything that's got some, you know, some beans and some meat and some chips. I really like flavor and texture together. So that's why a lot of times Mexican food really hits the mark for me. And there's a great place in Paris where you can get some delicious Latino food. I love fine dining. Fine dining isn't something I grew up with, but it's something that when I have the opportunity to take guests to experience elevated food in a really comfortable, approachable environment, I love that. So a great small steak with a few potatoes and say some asparagus or some cauliflower, I'm a happy girl. And Mary, Spicy Jan does like it spicy. So I would say a great steak and potatoes with something hot on top. I love Mexican food. And I'll be honest, I'm married to a Portuguese man, so I love Portuguese food. It's not something that it's easily findable around here, but if I go to my in-laws or I go over to Portugal, like, I do love the beautiful flavors of peppers and onions and garlic. I love, Mary, I love good flavor. Oh my gosh. Doesn't matter if it's street food or fine dining, like, I so appreciate the hands that make good food.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm sure that everyone has loved hearing about what you're doing as much as I love catching up with you.
Thanks, Mary.
Yeah, thanks so much for doing all the work you do. It's been fantastic. Once again, for everybody, my name is Mary Polka. I was with Janice Valaka of Tasty Road Trips here in Brantford and Brant County, serving all of Brantford and Brant County and our local restaurateurs. And I've been doing these community interviews with different people each week. So if you or your business would like to get an interview in, please just send me a message. That's it for me. Have a great evening, Janice. Enjoy some.
Thank you so much, Mary.
Talk to you soon.
Stay well. Thank you.